The story of our adventures by a good friend and philosopher Mark Twain begins with Aunt Polly hunting me down because I got into her jam. And oh, what good jam that was. It was all over my hands and mouth. When she did catch me, I tricked her and said, "Well, look behind you." She did, so I took off running. That night, Aunt Polly tried to get me to admit that I skipped school and went swimming, and I almost got away with it.
Yeah, but that was before your tattletale and half-brother Sid pointed out that your sweater was sewed with black thread, when that morning your Aunt Polly had it sewed with white thread.
I stormed out to supper that night, and I went to go practice my whistling. That's when I came across a new, stranger, well-dressed boy. We fought. I won.
Yeah, and then when you snuck back in late that night, your Aunt Polly ambushed you. And boy, was she upset at the state of your clothes, that she decided to punish you on the next day, Saturday. Now, I'm going to quote our friend Mark Twain by saying that Saturday morning was come, and all the summer world was bright and fresh and brimming with life. There was a song in every heart, and if the heart was young and the music issued at the lips, there was a cheer in every face and a spring in every step. The locust trees were in bloom, and the fragrance of the blossoms filled the air. Cardiff Hill, beyond the village, and above it, was green with vegetation, and it lay just far enough away to seem a delectable land, dreamy, reposeful, and inviting.
Too bad I couldn't enjoy it, because I had to whitewash a fence 30 yards of board fence 9 feet high.
And then Jim came skipping out of the gate singing Buffalo Gals.
Okay, just give me a second. As I was walking down the street, down the street, down the street, a pretty little girl I chanced to meet, and we danced by the light of the moon. Buffalo gal, won't you come out tonight, come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gal, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon.
And fetching water from the village pump. You even tried to bribe Jim with the marble in the side of your sore toe.
Yeah, and it almost worked. Till Aunt Polly came out and whacked him in the rear with her slipper. Although I did get to bribe a bunch of other boys in St. Petersburg to do the whitewashing for me.
And again, I'll quote our good old friend Mark Twain by saying that in order to make a man or a boy covet a thing, it is only necessary to make the thing difficult to attain.
And that I did. All I had to do was make it seem that I was having a time of my life whitewashing a fence. And all the other boys traded me all the treasures for a chance to whitewash for me.
And then Becky.
Becky. She proved her love to me by throwing a pansy at me. Ow! It was a treasure of all me treasures.
And then, when you went home for supper that night, your spirits were flying so high your aunt couldn't figure you out. And then Sid broke the sugar bowl by accident, and then your Aunt Polly came back in and she thought you broke it.
I thought Sid was gonna get. But then Aunt Polly came out of the kitchen shooting lines of wrath out of her spectacles. Then, next thing I knew, I was sprawling on the floor. When Aunt Polly had her hand up to strike me again, I said, "What are you bailing me for? Sid broke it." I knew she felt sad, but she wouldn't admit it.
And isn't that when you left for supper and you went and laid under Becky's window with your wilted flower on your chest, thinking that if you had to die overnight, that how sad she would be to see your poor helpless body laying there in the morning.
Yep. But then the maid servant dumped a bucket of water all over me, and then went home with my wet clothes without saying my prayers.
Then it was the next morning that you got dressed for Sunday school, all purty.
May have looked like the start of a long and boring day, but I made the best out of it. I traded some of me treasures I got from trading whitewashing privileges for some tickets. I accumulated enough tickets to get my very own personal Bible. I was now one of the 2 marvels of the church. Me and Judge Thatcher. Our superintendent of the Sunday school was shocked but a little proud to be giving me, Tom Sawyer, his very own personal Bible. All the boys who trade me their treasures for whitewashing privileges, well, they regret it.
Yeah, and wasn't it the next day, Monday, that you tried to skip school pretending you was sick? And then Aunt Polly caught on and called you out on it, and you had to go to school anyways.
Yeah, but if I didn't, I would have come across you, Huckleberry Finn, son of the village drunkard.
Don't you forget it, all the mothers in town dread me, because I can cuss and smoke and drink and do whatever I want whenever I want, and all the kids want to be like me.
Bad to the bone, bad to the bone, bad, bad to the bone.
Yeah, and that was also the day that Yous and I made plans to go to the graveyard about midnight to perform that ritual with the cat to get rid of me warts.
Yeah, after we were done talking, I went to school. I was late, but I got to sit by my new angel, Becky. That's when I learned her name was Becky. And we had so much fun that day.
Yeah, and you also got engaged to her that day, right? Well, at least till she found out that Yous was engaged to Amy Lawrence before.
Then a roller coaster of a relationship began.
And then that night, we went and did the ritual at the graveyard with the dead cat to get rid of me warts and stuff.
That night we witnessed the murder of Dr. Robinson. He was murdered by Injun Joe.
We said we never speak about it to anybody. And then Joe's laugh started caving in because his mom, he whipped him for drinking cream without asking. And your laugh started caving in because you had a fight with Becky. So we all went to Jackson's Island to pirate.
Now that was fun. We played games, swam, and ate bacon.
Don't forget, I taught y'all how to smoke.
We don't condone smoking. Don't worry, I'll never forget that.
And then we heard a peculiar sound in the distance. When we went to go investigate, it was a little steam ferry boat shooting a cannon.
Do that to bring dead bodies from the bottom to the top.
Yeah, they all thought we was drowned.
So we just went back to camp, ate some bacon, went to bed.
Well, Joe and I went to bed. You went to see your Aunt Polly to give her the letter.
Did, but then I didn't. See, I got a better plan. I decided that we were going to crash our own funerals.
Yep, and all their faces they made were priceless.
Life continued as before, or at least for a month or so.
Well, it stayed like that for a bit until the sleepy atmosphere was stirred and the murder trial began. All of the village was talking about it.
But I testified. I saved Muff Potter from the rope. I told everybody that Injun Joe was the murderer, although he escaped through the court window and was living on the lam.
But you can't sit but can you, Tom? You had to put the bug in my ear about digging up the whole town looking for treasure that robbers buried.
Yep, we even went to the haunted house on a Saturday, because there's some lucky days maybe, but Friday ain't. Although then, we saw Injun Joe disguised as a deaf and dumb Spaniard we saw in town. We had to hide good.
Yep, and after they napped for a bit, we found out that they had a job that they had to do. And then they went and buried the treasure that they found not in den number 1, but in den number 2, under a cross.
Next day, I went to Becky's picnic. Although that day, you followed them, which is a good thing, because you stopped them from torturing the old Will Douglas for what her husband did to Injun Joe when he was alive.
Yep, and it's a good thing that you went to Becky's picnic, because otherwise if you guys hadn't gotten lost in that cave, you wouldn't have seen Injun Joe in there.
Yep. After 3 days and 3 nights in that cave, we weren't doing so good. Although, when we got out and got our strength back, Judge Thatcher told us that he had sealed the cave completely. Although then we told him that Injun Joe was in the cave. And after Injun Joe's funeral, we went to go check out the cave to see if we can find gold.
And we talked about becoming robbers.
Yeah, not only did we find his gold, we also found some guns, moccasins, some other rubbish. And boy, did it feel good when the whole town found out me's and you's were rich.
Yep, and Widow Douglas, she adopted me. And okay, I ran away at first, but then I went back to give her clean, structured way of life another try.
that night, we decided to do an initiation on our gang of robbers.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits, you go to school and learn the golden rule. So why are you acting like a bloody fool? If you get hot, then you must get cool. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? You chuck it on that one, you chuck it on this one, you chuck it on your mother and you chuck it on your father, you chuck it on your brother and you chuck it on your sister, you chuck it on that one and you chuck it on me. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Nobody now give you no break. Police now give you no break. That old soldier man I give you no break. Not even your eyes now give you no breaks. Hey, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do?